It's 1975. JAWS just came out. Microsoft was founded. And, I don't know, AKG, AKG released the K240s. Arguably one of the most legendary studio headphones of all time. Period. So, fast forward 2025, and today these headphones are still used in like all sorts of studios around the world. I mean, this is a studio staple, originally designed in 1975 with the K240 Sextets. These are the new revisions, the K240 Studios, but these are not what I'm here to nerd out about. No, I have these, but these are what I'm here to nerd out about. Yeah, I mean, I love audio gear just as much as the next headphone, speaker, nut, audiophile, whatever, but there's always been something special to me about vintage audio. In this case, the AKG K240s are a perfect example. We can look all the way back to 1975, and, well, they look about the same. I mean, here's 2025, here's 1981, I believe these were made in.
It's 1984, you're forgetting.
I know, shut up. But yeah, the AKG K240s are what we call open back headphones, or in this case, semi-open backs. So, as you can see, you've got exposed grill right there. The exposed grill allows for the drivers to be kind of open to the outside. So instead of that closed-in headphone sound, you get a much more open sound, and it allows for a lot more soundstage. So as you can tell, obviously, these are definitely not the original ear pads that came on, these 80s K240s. I mean, these are the stock ones that come on this, and they're junk. Don't mind that there's no inside. We don't talk about it. But yeah, these are not the stock ear pads, but I mean, I'd argue for a $40 investment, these headphones become really, really, really good. There are definitely key differences between the original K240 Studios, the original K240 monitors as well as the K240 Studios. Number one being, as you can see here, 55 ohms of impedance on these. For those that don't know, impedance is just how much power is required to drive the headphones. Basic way to put it. These have a little bit more than 55, we'll say that much. I mean, just a little bit, maybe. Like, it's not that crazy. And they're made in Austria, as they should be. It is of a very popular opinion that, like, new AKG has kind of gone down in quality, and I would agree, although, anything that is of the original design from back then, which is quite a few headphones that AKG has for sale, including the K240s, obviously they're very much just the same as the originals, are still pretty good, and these are still pretty alright too. I used these for a long time, and then one day I found these at a Goodwill auction, and scored them for super cheap, so I've been loving these. And you see they've got the suspension headband, because they're all fancy. Look at that suspension action. Because it's got rubber bands in there. Look at that. Wow. Those always snap and break when they get old. Arguably one of the biggest advantages of, going with a vintage set of K240s instead of a modern set is these vintage ones actually tend to have a lot more bass response than the new ones. It's not exactly clear why. It could be, age of the drivers. It could even just be different drivers. It could be totally placebo. But, if you look at the graphs, I'll put the graphs on top of each of these. Bass, if any at all, slightly less bass. See what I'm saying? There's foam on my desk from the vintage ones. It's coming out the sides. Now, of course, at the end of the day, the differences between these two headphones are pretty nuanced, and, like, you don't need to be you don't need to own K240 Sextets and K240 DLs instead of the new ones to call yourself an audiophile. No. At the end of the day, these are both, studio application headphones. I mean, these were probably used in a studio for 30 years before they were, sent to a Goodwill. Whereas I bought these new because they were pretty affordable back in the day. Back in the days, and like a few years ago. I don't know why I say that like it's been like 30 years since I ordered these, but yeah, these have always been a studio choice. You can look up these headphones. They have possibly one of the best reputations of any studio monitor pretty much ever released. These have been used to probably record a lot of your favorite music. You know, if you go and look up videos of your favorite artists doing stuff in the, you know, mid 80s, you've probably seen a pair of these headphones in the background before. And this is in part why I love vintage audio so much, is that, like, you know, these headphones are from the 1980s. These headphones are very old, and they're still punching same weight class, if not above these, I would argue. And they've been in service for, you know, they've been in service for decades now. You know, and that's the great thing about vintage audio is, you know, audio, it doesn't just get worse. Like, this has always been good. I use these every single day. They're my daily driver headphones, and they're fantastic. I mean, these are probably some of the best headphones I've ever had the pleasure of using. Granted, you know, there's much nicer out there, of course, but, you know, for the price I got them at and how old they are, it's pretty incredible that you can keep headphones like this kicking and they sound fantastic. It's great. I would argue if you're a new audio enthusiast, the AKG K240s, whether you get old ones like this, and if you do get old ones, be prepared to possibly have to put new ear pads on them and, you know, clean a bunch of foam out of them, because these have been leaking foam all over the place. Or, you know, whether you get these, it's a pretty safe bet no matter what you go for. They're both great headphones. They're the same. I mean, they are the exact same design. I mean, almost to a T. You know, they've got the same drivers. A lot of people, again, do prefer the vintage ones. I prefer the vintage ones. I mean, you can't deny that the class. Look at that. Come on, it's classy. It's K240 monitor, made in Austria. Whereas these are
AKG K240 Studio.
Now, the big disadvantage of the K240s, I mean, old and new, is the sub-bass response. These are open back headphones, or again, semi-open back, as they're disclosed and advertised on the website, which is a fair thing to refer to them as. I guess they are kind of semi-open instead of full mesh. But the sub-bass response on these is not quite the best, but they're also, again, open backs. Open backs don't typically have the best sub-bass response. You know, usually you're not in the realm of any closed back headphone or anything like that. Open backs are always going to have kind of a dip, and I'll put up a graph on screen. They'll kind of always have a slope down in the sub bass, which is normal. And, you know, you can EQ it out or EQ it back in, but I would argue that getting a good set of these that has good bass reproduction but not crazy extension is a good way to go. I mean, the vintage ones are preferred for that reason, is that the sub bass extension and the sub bass reproduction is fantastic. I mean, there might not be much bass, but there's just enough that they sound incredible. So much detail and all the bass that you hear from these headphones. Truly great. They're truly awesome. They're just maybe not for a bass head. Unfortunately, the golden era of AKG is far over after Samsung acquired them. Nowadays, you know, all the K series is getting is the K72, the K712 Pro, the K361. Generally trash headphones. Most of them suck. I've actually tried quite a few of them, and overall, I just they just are not what AKG used to be. Even with these still being in production, and they're fine. They're still just about as good. This is always going to be the holy grail for AKG, is I would say the K240 Sextits from 1975 and the K240 monitors, which I believe started production in 1981. Could be wrong. If I am wrong, I will put it up on screen. But hey, I'm out of talking points for this video. I love old headphones, I love old audio, and old junk in general, and that's gonna kind of be the whole thing of this channel, is, you know, old stuff, things that people don't appreciate anymore that I love. So if you like that, then definitely come back for more, and thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. Bye.